My friends, I've come here today because as Prime Minister of Israel, I feel a profound obligation to speak to you about an issue that could well threaten the survival of my country and the future of my people: Iran's quest for nuclear weapons. We're an ancient people. In our nearly 4,000 years of history, many have tried repeatedly to destroy the Jewish people.
I am a Churchill file, a Churchill lover. This man, in my opinion, was the most towering figure of the entire 20th century. In many aspects, he saved Europe from Nazism. I have a relative named after Winston Churchill. By the way, I tell men all the time, women too for that matter, but men especially, that the single most important book that you can read if you are a Christian leader, or if you aspire to be a Christian leader, in any realm, politics, judiciary, commerce, activism, whatever. The single most important book that you can read, in my opinion, after the Scriptures is this book, The Last Lion Alone by William Manchester. It is the second volume of a 3-volume set. I would heartily encourage you to get all 3 volumes, but especially get the second volume. And you can read the second volume freestanding. And it's Churchill's wilderness years from 1932 to 1940. And I want to talk to you a minute about that. In fact, you know what I'll do? I will use this as the backdrop. I told you I had something I wanted to show you. Lane, we need to get a close-up of this, please. So here is this. Now look at that closely, right? You see you've got Stanley Baldwin. Who was Stanley Baldwin? Stanley Baldwin was the Prime Minister of England from about 35 to 37. In fact, he was Prime Minister until June of 1937. And look at the date underneath Winston Churchill's name. All right? And by the way, that is a confirmed signature of Winston Spencer Churchill. This book was purchased and given to me as a gift. It's actually a collection of very famous autographs from people from England. The most famous two are Winston Churchill and Stanley Baldwin. Now, the reason this is so poetic and frankly incredible, there are a lot of collectors around the world that would love to have this exact autograph book, is because at that time, Baldwin was Prime Minister. Churchill was a backbencher in Parliament, was being scoffed at, ridiculed in the press. The BBC had decided that they were going to, it was right at that time that the BBC said they're not going to care any more of Churchill's speeches. There were newspapers that either wouldn't cover him or would ignore, would slight him with their coverage of his speeches. Here's why this is critical. I said to you that Churchill was in a large way responsible for saving Europe from Nazism. And Prime Ministers MacDonald, Baldwin, and Chamberlain, they paved the way for the Nazis to become strong. Listen to this. The largest trading partner economically with Germany prior to World War II was England. England. And guess what the largest single export was from England to Germany, according to one book that I read? Guess what it was? Scrap metal. Scrap metal. The Germans just stamped return to sender on it in the form of V-2 rockets and Stuka fighter bombers and bombs that they were dropping over London. Chamberlain said of Hitler, "I felt that here was a man that I could trust." Netanyahu is laying out his argument before the world, not just before a joint session of Congress, but before the world, in effect saying that President Obama is making the same type of fatal error that Prime Ministers MacDonald, Baldwin, and Chamberlain did in England with Germany in the 1930s. You see, the English and the French had a duty, according to the Treaty of Versailles, to keep Germany from rearming. If the English had done their duty, there would not have been a World War II. Did you know that? I've got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll show you another clip of Netanyahu's speech, and I'm going to tell you a couple of quick facts about World War II so that you can, again, make the comparison. Obama is today's Chamberlain. Netanyahu, at least in this circumstance, may be today's Churchill. Does our Lord Jesus Christ, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, have authority in the political realm, the judicial realm, economics, education? The answer is yes. And does he want his servants to be the leaders in those realms? Again, yes. If you want to learn how you can be a leader in the power bases of America, get the series, Taking Back the Gates.